Hey everybody, welcome back to the Brotherhood of Gaming. It's now the year 2017, and boy do we have a lot of surprises coming up. First off, I want to say that we're going to try really hard to make this a very productive year. Not like 2016 where everything was just kind of slowed down, but we're going to try to go full force, get things back running, try new things, but also try to be more formulaic in our style where it's more familiar, I guess. Anyway, for those of you who are probably aware by now, if you've been looking at your subscription feeds, you will probably notice that there's been a lot of people uploading reaction videos on Nintendo's presentation about the Nintendo Switch. And I wanted to give it kind of a couple days before I decided to do my own, because I kind of wanted to let the ideas sit there while I thought about what I saw, and yeah, basically it's about the same. So, if you already have a ton of Nintendo Switch things going on in your feed box from other YouTubers, it's more or less probably going to be sort of the same thing here, but I'll just give you my general thoughts on what I expected, what I didn't expect, and where to go from here. Okay, first of all, they talked about the price, which was an immediate thing that we all needed to know. It's now confirmed it's going to be $299, which not a big fan. I know I'm kind of cheap like that, but from the rumors of it being $150 to $199 around there, I was kind of hoping that maybe it would sort of be around that ballpark, and Nintendo had kind of this habit of making their consoles a little bit more affordable than your average PlayStation or Xbox, which kind of may have shot them in the foot sometimes because the consoles were just not that powerful, or handhelds just weren't up to par. Who knows? But overall, just $299. It's pretty much your average price for a console these days. When it comes to specs, people are going to tell you different things on what to expect out of them. Like, oh, it's still not as powerful as your Xbox. It's still not as powerful as a PC. But in the end, you don't really go to Nintendo for that sort of thing. You kind of go to them for the innovation and their unique ideas and titles, and sometimes it doesn't always work out. But, you know, sometimes you get a pretty cool gem out of it. And one thing that we've learned from Nintendo is that you can never really count them out. They're always coming up with new things. I mean, Splatoon was a new IP that they came out with, and admittedly, I didn't feel it that much. But, oh boy, did it really rise to the occasion, and it proved that there's an audience for it. So much so that we're now getting a sequel. But that I'll talk about that in a little bit. One thing that they did talk about was that they're not going to have any region locking, which is a really good thing. Thank you, Nintendo, for implementing that. Because unfortunately, especially now more than ever, especially if you have a PlayStation or so, you might know that there's a lot of really great games that are released in certain countries like Japan, mostly Japan, especially if you're an RPG fan, that don't get released in America due to licensing reasons, or it's just too much trouble to translate. But there's so many great games that just never come overseas, or they come out like a year in advance early in Japan, and sometimes you want to get your hands on it and you want to be able to play it. So knowing that we now have an option for people over here or in other countries to import games from different regions, and we don't have to worry about region locking, that's a great thing to have. And to me, I think it improves the value of the console overall, instead of forcing us to stay within our own region. One thing that Nintendo really tried to do with this presentation is talk about their controllers, like the Joy-Cons, and how innovative they are with the technology going on inside them. And to me, there's kind of a good and bad there, because with the more technology and the more advanced they make these controllers, the more expensive they become, and unfortunately that turns out to be the case here. If you're going to buy another controller set, if you want to play with friends, it's going to run you about $79.99, which is $20 more than your average controller from the last generation. So we're expecting in the future down the line, the more technologically advanced we get, our controllers and prices are just going to continue going up and up and up. So, I don't know. I was always kind of a solo adventurist anyway, so maybe it doesn't bother me too much, but I can see it being a problem for family members, especially parents who have multiple children in the house, and you got to buy controllers so that everybody in the family can play. So, you can imagine the bill's going to be really high. Another thing about the Joy-Con controllers is that they went out of their way to like show that it's got like this thing in it, like where they compared it to like a glass of water, and you can put ice cubes in it, and not the controller, but ice water, and it's supposed to be able to tell the difference. Like maybe there's like some vibrations in there that can allow you to feel the different weight. Well, I don't want to say weight because how would that be possible? But like you can feel like there's something else going on. Like for example, in the old Silent Hill Shattered Memory games, terrible game but interesting ideas. How you could take the Wii remote and shake it around as if there was like a key inside of a bottle, and you can shake it out of there. Something similar to that, and they were showing that going akin to one of their new launch title games, which is like 1-2 Switch, and it's pretty much the new generation of Wii Sports. So, and this is what has me a little bit puzzled, because they're showing how like, oh, you don't really look at the screen with the Joy-Con controllers. You're looking at the other players and you're playing with each other and using the Joy-Con controllers like Wii remotes and getting really innovative with them. But kind of like with the Wii remotes, I'm wondering if it really takes all of this, like, you know, all this action with the person actually playing with the controller instead of like how we figured out with the old Wii remotes. Can you just flick it and it does most of the action without you having to get really that much involved? That's ultimately what I kind of figure about this 1-2 Switch, is it's pretty much the new Wii Sports. Not much to it, but there might be some fun to be had with it. I mean, Wii Sports was a successful thing. A lot of casual players really liked it, and you can't argue with success, so why not go for it again? Another game that they came out, which was original, I can't say I was too excited for it, which is weird. It was called ARMS, that's right. And the idea seems interesting enough until they started showing how you play it. And so in order to move around with the characters, you don't use the analog sticks, which is an immediate turnoff for me. Now you have to do this and do this to move around. And so you're pretty much doing doing a jig here while you're doing your fight. So it's almost like you're dancing. So it's just, to me, it kind of defeats the purpose for analog sticks. Like, why is Nintendo banking on getting the player to move? Like, why is it such a problem for a gamer or a player or a casual player to just sit down with a controller and just play? Why do we have to get so interactive with the game as if we're in it? I just don't get this idea. Who over there at Nintendo is forcing everybody to move? I mean, yeah, if you want us all to be fit, I mean, I don't blame you. I could definitely use a little help in that department, but still, like, what's the idea? And I kind of get it. Like at the conference, they were talking about, oh, the Nintendo Switch utilizes features from every generation of consoles that we've ever made, and that could be a good or bad thing. Because there were some things that people want to forget, and others to I don't know. Like a lot of people kind of want to forget the Wii era, specifically the name. I guess that's one thing everybody can be thankful for, is we can forget the name Wii. We're finally done. 10 years in, and we're finally done with the stupid Wii brand. Oh gosh. One thing I can say that kind of disappointed me is that they really didn't show a lot of games, like the stuff that we really came to see. I mean, like a lot of the stuff that they flash briefly, but you find out later that you kind of have to go outside of the Nintendo presentation just to see some of the stuff that's going to come with it. Because if they do show it at all, it flashes on the screen so fast. Like, of course, you do get like a couple of games out there. Like, you got another Xenoblade, which for the audience is pretty cool. But then I find out later that there's another Bomberman. Sonic Mania is coming to the Nintendo Switch, which, hey, right on. But one thing that was really cool is in the background of the names of the games that you see, the Tales of series is coming to the Nintendo Switch. I don't know what that means. Like, is it going to be an all-new Tales game, or is it going to be re-releases of past Tales games? Because when it comes to Nintendo, it sure could happen. I mean, Tales of Symphonia and Tales of Fantasia were Nintendo titles back in the Super Famicom with Tales of Fantasia, and there's plenty of Japanese Tales games that were also on the Nintendo platforms as well, from the Narukidi Dungeon games. So it's not like the Namco Bandai doesn't have a good standing with Nintendo. So yeah, it leaves a. I'm really excited to find out what the Tales series has to bring to the Nintendo Switch. EA made an appearance talking about their new FIFA game, but I brought up an idea, and Gene kind of agreed with this. Like, okay, you know what? I can't. I'm not a sports fan game. Well, I'm not a sports gamer by any stretch of the imagination. I just kind of think that they're all pretty samey. You play one Madden game, you virtually played most of them, just with a graphical update, if that. But I thought, well, EA, like, jumping onto the sports bandwagon for the Nintendo Switch, garnering that audience, because Madden has its audience. Like, those types of games, they have their audience, and they always come back for more. So trying to appeal to them, not a bad plan. However, why not step your game up? Instead of just bringing, like, your average FIFA, I mean, if that's what you're into, fine. But I was kind of thinking of more outside the box. Like, you have a Nintendo Switch here. You have a screen that you can hold into your hand and you can do things with. You can also use it as a touchscreen, apparently, if Nintendo's true to their word, and you can utilize every aspect of everything they've ever made. So I was like, and I talked to Gene about this, and he thought, yeah, this is actually a pretty good idea. That'd be pretty cool if they did this. What if they came out with, like, a Madden manager mode, where mode type game, where instead of playing as the players, you play as kind of like the coach, and you have the screen, and as if it was a real football game, as if you were really coaching the players, you could create or, like, recruit your own football team members. You know the best of their attributes, you know what they're good at, you know what they suck at, you know who to put on the team, who to put in which parts, like, you know who to make the quarterback, you know who to make the linebacker, and that sort of thing. And instead of playing out, like, how, like, I'm pretty sure, like, even if you're not a Madden player, you kind of get how the formula works. Like, you get, like, as soon as the game, the play is about to start, you have, like, choices of, like, different maneuvers that you want the teams to make, and you kind of have to play it out with a controller. What if, instead of doing that, you mapped out the entire play that you want them to make yourself, and you assign each person to do it, and you play it out as if it was like a real football game you were watching. You tell them what to do, you see how it goes, and then you let the play go and see what happens. If it works, great. You make it to a touchdown, or pass the first down, right on. And then if somebody gets tackled down, you come up with the next play, and maybe you'll have to do it all in advance, come up with all the plays in advance, and then you'll have to choose from which ones that you tried out, like a real football game. That would be really innovative, and I think that would bring in a whole, like, new variety of football fans if they advertised that kind of Madden football game where it was as close to the real thing as you could possibly get if you were the coach of a football team. Like, maybe this is just me being a little ignorant to sports games in general, and I just think it'd be a pretty cool idea. Like, I'd kind of be interested in that if I was more into sports than I am, but I don't know. Did I just come up with a really good idea and nobody capitalized on it yet? I don't know. Well, there's an idea for you, EA. Get on it. One of the biggest titles, no doubt, that blew me away, because it's one that I've wanted for a long time, was a new Mario. Now, hold on a second. I know a lot of people are going to be instantly like, well, what are you talking about? We've been getting new Mario games for years now. But yeah, but the problem is they've been very boring. I know there's a dedicated Mario fan base out there that loves all of the games that come out, and you know what, more power to you. I'm not hating on Mario in that regard. He's always been a video game icon, always and forever will be. But I just think that the formula for Mario games has gotten pretty stale. Like, I'm tired of the Super Mario 3D lands. I'm tired of the new Super Mario Brothers. I'm tired of the rehashes of the same damn game that we've been playing for freaking a long time. Where's the new Super Mario Sunshines? Where's the new variations of a Super Mario Galaxy? Where is the new Luigi's Mansion type stuff? Like, I like to see Mario at his best when he's innovating and doing new things. And, like, that's the kind of stuff that I really want to see. I want him to go outside the box with Mario. Sometimes it hasn't always worked out, but you know what? That's part of an industry. You take risks. Now, like, I'm fine with Mario doing the occasional traditional style of gameplay, going back to the new Super Mario style, but when it was all the time. Like, they were doing so many different gimmicks about it. They had like one for the 3DS that was like all coin based, where it was coins and coins, golden coins everywhere. Luigi, new Luigi Brothers. Like, for God's sakes, how many times are you going to rehash the same game? Just change it up a little. Give us something new, man. And so I am very happy to say that with the announcement of Super Mario Odyssey, that looks exactly like what I'm getting here. And a few people mentioned it to me, and I'm just like, you know what? I can't disagree. It feels very Sonic Adventure-ish, but with a Mario skin. Like, is Mario taking the Sonic Adventure route and going with all the humans and stuff? And I'm like, you know what? You got me. Guilty pleasure. Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 are guilty pleasures of mine. I still think they're really fun games and really enjoyable. Flawed, definitely, but very fun, very enjoyable. Music's killer. So yeah, seeing Mario run around in a human-like New York City that with incredible looking visuals and graphics and stunning 3D, and seeing him shimmying along skyscrapers and jumping along other various areas, like, this is the kind of innovation that I wanted. Yes! Oh, Nintendo, you're brilliant again. Oh, they're amazing. So, yes, so finally, a Super Mario game that I can't wait to play. It's been so long since that's happened. I mean, Super Mario Galaxy 2 was a pretty good game, but I don't know, for a long time I was just craving a really great Mario game, and I think even Gene will attest that where's my Super Mario Sunshine 2, darn it. And yeah, honestly, I'm still banking for that. Just make sure the ending's worth it. So, yeah, Super Mario Odyssey. I couldn't be more excited for it. It is a little strange seeing him in the real world, but I'm all for the strange. So, you know what? 2 thumbs up from me. Of course, the show couldn't end without showing us probably the best title that they're going to have launching for the Nintendo Switch, which would be The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which at this point, it's really hard to say anything more about it that hasn't been said already with everything that we have seen up to this point. Nintendo's pretty much made it clear what kind of game this is and what's to be expected out of it. They haven't spoiled anything story-wise, and that's always kind of been the big thing, like, what's this about? Where is this in the timeline? But I cannot wait. I've run out of words to say. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is an absolutely amazing invention. The world is just so huge. It's so massive. It's so alive. It looks beautiful. I cannot wait to explore it. The voice acting is long overdue. Thank goodness they're finally implementing it. And it sounds like they put a lot of effort into it. It doesn't sound cheap. So, at this point, that's pretty much all there is to say. The Nintendo presentation, it was a little shorter than I thought it would be. It was a little underwhelming. They did show some cool things here and there, but not as much as I would have hoped they would have. But it can only get better from here on out. They showed us what we needed to know. They showed us a little bit more about the system, what its price was going to be, when to expect it, and what was going to be launching for it. We can expect Super Mario to come out during the holiday season, and of course, as other third-party developers said that they're coming in and developing games for it, they will be released in a timely manner whenever they're done and ready to go. Meanwhile, Zelda, I think, is going to give us plenty of time to wait for them. You got another Splatoon game, you have ARMS, you have 1-2 Switch coming out at launch. So, that being said, I think it's going to be pretty cool. I think we are still struggling with a little bit of an identity crisis with the Nintendo Switch, because I don't think kids primarily will be that interested. But, you know, I've been wrong before. So we'll see where it goes from here. Meanwhile, guys, thank you so much for watching. Those are my thoughts on the presentation and the Nintendo Switch in general. I think it's pretty cool, and good luck if you can get your hands on one, because I think pre-orders are all out. I guess hopefully it's not another mini NES situation where they're all gone and, well, whatever. Anyway, before I go, I wanted to announce that, the Tales of Retrospective is being worked on. I'm trying to move things in a much quicker fashion. I know. I've been saying that a while now. But you know what? Whether or not you trust me at this point is whatever. That's all I can really say. Whatever. I'm tired. It's late. So, thank you so much. This isn't going to be an entirely professional video. No major audio editing. No big, giant microphones to help me. get the audio clear. Just, this is from me being real with you guys about my honest thoughts. So be sure to join us next time when we have other reviews and other great things coming out. Be sure to subscribe to support, and we'll see you next time. So, okay, bye.